Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. Administrator Fugate, I'm one of the few members who probably praise FEMA every time I see the group working in the New Orleans area. I believe that you have assembled a very responsible, a very competent team in the 2nd District, and we've made great strides in the past year and a half in dealing with the many recovery issues that we have down there. But I still have one very serious concern with respect to FEMA in regards to the community disaster loans. Before FEMA issued the regulations, you all requested comments, and we held a roundtable in which we gathered comments and submitted them to FEMA. And it seems to me that many of those comments were not considered, so that there are potential problems for many of the entities in requesting for community disaster forgiveness, especially in areas with respect to Jefferson Parish, with respect to St. Tammany. I spoke to, for instance, Sheriff Newell Norman of Jefferson Parish, who conveyed to me that his concern with respect to the 3-year requirements, which is not only problematic for the sheriff, but also problematic for New Orleans School Board, problematic for Jefferson, problematic for St. Tammany, because right after Hurricane Katrina, there was a tremendous influx of population into Jefferson Parish from the people moving into the parish from New Orleans, so that there was a spike in revenue, and then that spike quickly disappeared after people began to move back to New Orleans. So that is one of my concerns, and I've asked the Secretary to address the issue. And I just want to know whether or not FEMA will submit revised regulations to address the issue of the CDL. That is one issue in connection with community disaster loans. The other one in regards to the special CDL, which I've asked FEMA to look into for over a year now, and I've not received a response, or at least not an accurate response, in connection with Oxnard's request for a special CDL. It seems to me that reading their letters, reading their memorandum that they submit to you, that they conform to the law, and under the law they would be eligible for special CDL. And so far, I believe that FEMA either denied or have not provided them with a special CDL. Can you address those two questions?
I'll start with Oxnard. I know that one was one that we had a lot of difficulty with. I don't know if there's been a final determination. I think there was, but I will have the administrator for Region 6, Tony Russell, confirm that. As far as the community disaster loan forgiveness, that the rules were designed to help, we are looking at that at the Secretary's direction. We are seeing as to the unintended consequences of that rapid population growth and what that means to the actual intent of the rule. And so we are continuing to work that issue.
Can you give me a timeline with respect to when any revised rules will be issued?
At this time, we have not begun any revised rules. I think we're looking at the applications to actually go through the applications to see where we're going to have the problems versus acting before that. So as we go through that, we're going to see how many of the communities will go through that process and what those outcomes are, and then determine from there what additional steps we'd have to take.
Okay. Have you, at least in the past year, what plans or what reforms have you implemented in order to better prepare FEMA for recovery, to better effectively and efficiently work with local with state and local municipalities in rebuilding, because as you can see from the arbitration panel's decisions on charity and other projects that were submitted or were delayed by FEMA, they were able to make the decision in a span of two to 3 weeks, while it took FEMA years to make any kind of decision, whether or not they made a decision. Have you made any kind of plans to reform FEMA in those regards?
Yes, sir, and part of it was, I believe, in all of the arbitration hearings, the only ones that I know of that have gone in favor of FEMA have actually been on technicalities. Almost all of the other ones were, again, if we had followed our procedures, we would not have reached that point. And so it reaffirmed that, in many cases, FEMA had the authority. It was the application of the Stafford Act and the CFR. And so part of what we were able to do when Tony Russell was managing the Louisiana Recovery Office was to move a lot of projects through that had previously been backlogged that would have otherwise been in arbitration. And I think the ones that were in arbitration were so far along, one of which we actually, I believe with Jefferson Parish, came back on roads and we settled, because after reviewing it, we were asking why were we even challenging this? This was something we could do, and why hadn't we done it? So part of it is coming back and making sure that we're actually applying the Stafford Act and the CFR in the manner it was intended, and getting past some of the challenges we saw in the Katrina response.
The gentleman's time is